You know what? It's been a hot minute, so I figured I'd give you the good old, welcome back, guys. My name is Scalibur, and welcome back to another Caelesti update video. In today's update video, we're going to be going over a few stuff and things, various new things that are in Caelesti as of version 0.22.1. But first of all, it's been nearly 18 months since I posted a Caelesti update, so we're going to have a little bit of a talk before we get into things of what's been going on for me recently. There is a much longer conversation to be had about the state of my channel and videos in general, but I'm saving that for another video, which is coming hopefully straight after this one, so that's something to look forward to. There is more stuff in the works. I'm not dead, so don't worry. But Caelesti kind of is dead, right? I mean, it's not been updated in well over a year, so it's not doing too great right now. But it's not dead. It's alive, actually, and it's been developed slowly, very slowly, for the last 18 months. So there are some changes to go through today, some of which have been sitting around unpublished for over a year, and some of which I've done in the last couple of weeks. So without further ado, I'm going to start going through some of the changes that we've made in today's update. First of all, poppies. You may recognize these from version 0.17, and if you did, you would be mistaken, I'm afraid. These are not the poppies from version 0.17, but actually an entirely new way of doing the same poppies from version 0.17. I think probably the best way of showcasing how they're different is to put a side-by-side comparison on the screen right now, and I'm going to try and get a little bit better with editing with these videos, so I've definitely remembered to do that. Otherwise, this is getting deleted and re-uploaded, so thank you so much, me and editing. But as you can see, these poppies are a little bit different. Instead of having the 4 cross sections all going through the middle, it's now 4, what do we call these? I swear I had like a name for these. Like planes? Planes, yeah, yeah. I'm relearning everything, okay. We have 4 planes intersecting at the corners here, and they make up individual poppies. Now, every single poppy plant that we place down is going to be a little bit different. And as you can see here, the stems of each individual poppy match up to a poppy flower head. I was going to say poppy head. That didn't make any sense to me, though. Like, you can see this one here has just 6 poppies. So, yeah, you got like one down there, one just above it. One there, and there. There is a maximum number of poppies that can be in a single cluster, but that can be reduced down to as little as, I think, like 4. So you're going to find quite a variety of different poppy plants in your world. Yeah, there's a really weak... No, it's the same one we just found. Never mind. They also get rotated, of course, so they can be a bit confusing. But look, sometimes they're really dense, so... They can look pretty nice, especially when you're flying over the new meadows biomes that exist and are populated by a hefty number of flowers. These poppies can end up looking quite pretty. So, yeah, I hope you like these. They're a massive improvement on the previous poppies. I really liked the design that we came up with in 0.17, but this is just better. It's just so much better. I'm so much more happy with this. Unfortunately, we still don't have an item texture or a flower pot version. Some of you may remember this was always an issue in the past as well. Whenever I would make a new flower, it would not receive an item texture. This is also true for things like rose bushes and lilac, which, obviously lilac does already exist in Caelesti, but the item texture is non-existent, unfortunately. But we haven't just done poppies in today's update, we've also done dandelions as well, and dandelions are a little bit different to how they were beforehand. Obviously, poppies are very close in visual style to their previous counterpart, but dandelions are quite new and original, and you know what, I actually like them a little bit more than the poppies, and there is a very good reason for that. I'm going to show a screenshot right now of a dandelion meadows that I was flying over in my survival world, and doesn't it just look great? Doesn't that look beautiful? All of the little flowers, all with like random variations and random quantities and angles and all that sort of stuff. It's brilliant. I love it. Dandelions are more of a weed than a flower, I've been told. So I gave them more of a weedy appearance. They kind of splay off in all directions. They have like, backs to them, which are green. They have like extra leaves on the ground as well. So when you're looking at them from above, they actually look kind of interesting as well. I do actually really like these. These are both staying for good. Like, these are not getting removed from Caelesti, which I'm very happy with. Same thing with dandelions, though. No item texture, no flower pot variant. Sad times. What can we do? I will get round to it at some point. Sadly, Optifine is a bit shit. I think we all know this by now, and obviously Optifine is being squeezed even more by the incredibly frequent Minecraft updates that we're getting at the moment. But Zombie CEM and Skeleton CEM are currently broken. This is not just an Optifine-wide thing. You can see that my poor freezing cold Strider here is still working just fine. I'll put him out of his misery, but unfortunately Zombies and Skeletons not working. So my coffee donator zombies, you will not be able to see them, and my wonderful skeletons look like that. So if you're going to play with Caelesti in 1.21.4, expect this issue. However, if you're not playing Caelesti in 1.21.4, you will encounter some new zombie skins. We do now have a zombie skin for Magnagen and also Ender Squid, who are two of the top donators on Coffee, so it's amazing that it's taken this long for them to actually get a skin in the project. And a skin that they can't even use for the time being. Zombies previously had bright white eyes at all times. They were emissive, they were glowing, you could very easily see a zombie off in the distance. Now, the glowing zombie eyes are limited to zombies that spawn underground or any zombie alive during a full moon. That's quite an interesting feature. So your zombies will have glowing eyes if it is a full moon or if they are underground. And that was actually by popular request. I did a post on YouTube and asked people, how would you like your zombies to look in Caelesti? And the people decided, so the people get what they asked for, which I think is pretty sick. I always love involving community with pack creation decisions. I think it's a really fun thing to do. So I'm glad that you guys could be involved with that decision, and I hope that you like the result. So moving on from that, we also have new additions to the Birch wood setup. Birch wood is the most complete wood in Caelesti right now, which is a travesty because it's really not complete at all. We have no item texture for the birch sapling. The birch planks and slabs are the only kind of blocks that we've actually done, other than the ones that make up the tree itself. Door and trapdoor, again, no item textures or models. They just have the default vanilla ones. And of course, there's like fences and boats and God knows what else that's birch related that we just haven't touched. So there's still a lot more to go. But in the interest of completing the birch setup a little bit more, I've tweaked the pressure plate to use the correct palette, because previously it was using one shade of beige, I guess this is. One shade of really bright beige, which is no longer on there. It made it look really strange next to the planks because, well, just to illustrate this a little bit. The planks right here, the brightest shade of beige on these planks is this line right here, this dividing line that is supposed to be the very corner of each of the individual planks. With the pressure plate, unfortunately, I did a goof and I decided to use that shade of beige that's clearly only for outlines as part of the main texture in the center of the pressure plate. So it looked completely wrong next to anything else birch related, so now it's just better, so I like that a lot more, so thank you, Birch. And I've also applied the same textures as the planks and the slabs to the stairs, which has very mixed results, unfortunately. You'll have to take a look at those for yourself, but they are a bit better than just having the default birch stairs in alongside my custom birch planks and slabs. So it's a bit of an improvement, I would say, but they still need a lot more work. This was just sort of like a bandage fix or band-aid for those of you in the United States. For those of us in the UK, it's a plaster. This is a plaster fix. I like that. We're going to use plaster fixes more often now. Previously, we had the wood, gold, and diamond tools, and we now also have stone and iron tools as well. So the original 5 sets of tools have now been completed, which I think looks really nice. The stone tools share a similar technique to the wooden tools, where they're actually made using string. This obviously makes no sense because there's no string in the recipe, and it would also be very expensive to craft your basic wooden tools with string. But I think it looks good, and I like the aesthetic, so go away. Stone tools look really good. They look like someone took a stone, bashed it into the right shape, tied it to a stick, and said, that'll do. I'm happy with that. That'll do the job. Iron tools, however, are a little bit better. The pickaxe and the sword are actually very similar to their diamond equivalents, and that was entirely intentional. In the past, I would have had it so that every single tier of items had completely unique textures, and that was just a thing that was worth doing in every situation. However, in Caelesti, I've now decided that actually this shape of pickaxe that we have for the iron, gold, and diamond pickaxe, it's the same shape for all 3. That's just a pickaxe. There's no way that you can change or improve on that or vary it based on what the material is. That's just the shape that a pickaxe should be. So all 3 of these are the same. And the swords are also the same with the exception of the golden cutlass, which I just think looks really awesome. I love my golden colors. It looks so bizarre. What the fuck is up with this top bit here? It looks like a banana peel. I'm so confused. The iron axe is pretty nice as well, though. When I see a Vindicator running at me with this, it's horrifying. But that right there is a hatchet. Oh, my game paused. Okay, look at that shit. It looks like I should be throwing it at someone. You know, it looks like a throwing axe. The gap between the bottom of the axe head and the handle, I really like that. It looks like it would do some real fucking damage, you know. And this thing does 9 attack damage, you know. So like the iron axe is as strong as the diamond axe, really. It just has a slightly slower attack speed. So this thing looking kind of lethal, even though it's quite small and quite sleek, I really like that. I think it looks really good. Other than that, yeah, new tools, looking pretty slick. Really like those. We now have a new texture for flint and steel as well. You know, my 2 remaining brain cells fired and realized that we'd already made flint and we'd already made iron, so why not just make flint and steel? And as you can see here, flint and steel is quite literally just a shrunken down version of the 2 textures. The iron ingot has been flipped on its side, and therefore the lighting is a little bit different, just to kind of match up with that. But you can see here that the flint, you know, it's just the same. It's just the same texture. It's just reduced in size. So, you know, flint and steel exists now. I think that's pretty good. Ladders are a little bit more textury now. They have more like wooden grain on them. They look less flat. I don't know how to describe it. I really don't know how to describe it. I think with these ladders previously, the way I designed them was it was very, I don't want to say OCD, because that seems rude, but there is quite literally a texture pack called OCD Craft, which I'm sure we've all heard of. They did look very OCD Craft previously, and now they look like they're actually like grainy wood, and they still obviously use the same palette as all of our other generic wooden things, such as like chests and you know, item frames and shit like that. So I like these. I think they look good. They look better than they did before. You know, they've got more detail. They actually look like a real block now instead of just being like a flat mess. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my ladders. They're pretty nice now. Yeah. Pumpkin. Oh, hello. Well, I got one anyway. There we go. Okay. Pumpkin blur is now a little bit more simple. This one I'm a little bit undecided on. I previously had it where the pumpkin blur was very blurry. You know, the eye sockets that you would have while wearing a pumpkin looked very, you know, grainy, and they had like a gradient to them. But obviously with Minecraft being a game consisting of pixels, I decided that a pixel this close up to your face would look a little bit like this. You can see that there's kind of some variation on the imprint of what the eye looks like. I don't know what words are, but you might see what I mean here. It's kind of implying a small hint of depth with each of the layer of colors that you have alongside the eye holes. Yeah, I just referenced Rick and Morty. That's so fucked up, man. Oh my, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Bones. I bet some of you didn't even know this, right? But you know, when bones, when they spawn in a swamp, a desert, or now a mangrove swamp, they actually have a different color. And skeletons. Oh yeah, I want to try something. Actually, I want to try something. I wonder if this is gonna work. I wonder if this is gonna work. The CEM's broken, but okay, look at the color of the bone. Look at the color. I know that looks ridiculous, but look at the color. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. Sad times. Okay, whatever. That's fine. The skeleton also changes color in the respective biome, but it's just not working because Optifine. That's so sad. Oh, I wish Optifine was run by more than one person. Holy shit, that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, the whole point of this little setup here, regardless of the skeletons that disappoint me, is that these bones will now have their weird discoloration when spawning underneath a mangrove swamp. So, you know, swamp and desert, and now also mangrove swamp. So, you know, bones in slightly more places. Hooray. Basalt bricks have been removed. What the fuck was I thinking? That texture was horrendous. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is horrendous. I honestly think this is one of the worst textures in vanilla Minecraft. Like, what the fuck is that? You know, and the top doesn't even match up with it. It looks like a cake. What is that? It's so ugly. Anyway, well, mine was worse, so we've removed it, and I'll come back to it in the future and remake whatever I choose to make this. You know, I mean, currently it's polished basalt. Doesn't look very fucking polished to me personally, but you know, basalt bricks, polished basalt, they're both shit. So we're just going to go back to the vanilla one for now. I've removed all the appropriate language files as well, so these are actually polished basalt and not the basalt bricks that we had before. But yeah, so basalt bricks are out. That's kind of it, really. Red mushrooms, and specifically this red mushroom right here. Some of you will know that the red mushrooms do have variants, which is why they are slightly skew-if from where their hitboxes are. It just gives them a little bit more of a random appearance when they're bulked together like this. And there is also a 1 in 4 chance that a mushroom spawns with a little baby mushroom next to it as well. Little cute little mushroom. Little tiny one. Unfortunately, this cute little mushroom did not previously have an underside texture at all. So if you ever managed to be able to see this Diddy mushroom from a specific angle, you would just see that there was kind of nothing on the underside of that. It was just blank. So I've added a new tiny red square to the texture, which is now applied to the underneath of the tiny mushroom on this particular mushroom. And on the subject of changing things that already existed, we now have a slight change to chains as well, only specifically when they are placed vertically. Chains horizontally have not changed. They are the same. They're just the same as they were before. Nothing has changed there. However, chains now have an extra chain link at the bottom when placed vertically. This is very good for very specific scenarios, but it also just looks good when chains are just freestanding or connected to the ground. A lot of mine shafts now will have chains holding up their walkways, and the chain previously just wasn't attached to the ground because of that missing chain link. You have to think that when I originally made these, the plan was to have it so that chains were directly associated with lanterns. So when you were hanging lanterns on the underside of them, they would always look right. This still always looks right. It just looks right in slightly more use cases now for the low cost of 2 more elements being rendered per chain. So chains are slightly less illogical now, I guess. That's all there really is to say about that. And last but not least, we have possibly my favorite change of today's update, which is ridiculous because it's just 1 item. But this is going to have an impact on some things in the future update, hopefully. This is the Ender Pearl. And yes, I did count the snow labs. So, snow labs? Snow slabs? Snow layers? What am I talking about? I did count the snow layers so that I could get a nice close-up view of this Ender Pearl. But yeah, I love the color scheme. I think it looks awesome. It definitely just fits better with the style of Enderman in general. And it could also be used for, you know, the Ender Eye and also the Ender Chest as well. So there's a few things that this could do. I just like the appearance of it, really. I think it looks pretty good. I'm trying to switch up my pixel art style a little bit. I'm trying to become more comfortable with having blocks of color and using a more limited color palette in a way that looks good and doesn't look weird. It's not really a skill that I've ever perfected, if we're being completely honest. I am not a pixel artist. I am a data pack guy, and I'm technically now a games programmer as well, I guess. So, you know, it's not really me, but I'm going to keep trying. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life, though? Like, I mean, this is a valid question, right? Because I've kind of been out of the game for such a long time, you know? What have I done in the last, like, 18 months, you know? Okay, so I finished my degree. I got a degree in game design. I haven't used it yet. I haven't even really applied for, you know, any jobs, which is kind of sad. However, I have recently kind of rediscovered this urge to work on Caelesti that I've had in the past, which is kind of weird because it's come at a very strange time. I really intended on working on YouTube a lot more over the course of university than I ended up doing in the end. That's a story for another time, really. That next video that I've talked about, if you're really interested. By the way, there's not going to be any more Caelesti content in this video, so if that's all you're here for, then you can go by. But if you're still here, then yeah, thanks for being here, first of all. Holy shit, have you seen the Spore videos? What's going on with that, man? That Spore video has over 100,000 views. I made it as an experiment. I made it to like test my editing skills, and over 100,000 people have seen it. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like my worst work, and it's the most popular video on my channel by a fucking country mile. What the fuck? Thanks, YouTube. You know, thanks, YouTube, for giving me a little bump in an area which I have no interest in whatsoever, an area which all of my previous subscribers have no interest in. You know, thank you for that, YouTube. It's very cool. I appreciate the thought, I guess. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, these bricks are kind of weird, bro. There will be more Caelesti content coming soonish, maybe. Until then, I hope you had a great time. I definitely didn't. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, have a nice day, and bye-bye.